Welcome to episode 130 of Outside the Circle, a podcast dedicated to new and upcoming country artists, musicians, and songwriters. Today's guest will be Lauren O'Brien. We'll get to her in a little bit, but first, I'm Ronnie, and here's Brian.
What's happening, man? Yeah, we are back in the swing of things. We are still in my diaper changing eras and your interviews. So hopefully people are still liking it and aren't getting too sick of you.
Yeah, I think we got, including this one, I think maybe 4 more before we jump back into the both of us. And, kind of on that token, I was looking today at our calendar. We are, what is it here? So we're recording on August 26th. We are booked out through the year with interviews. That's awesome. So it's gonna be a busy couple of months for us, and we're coming up on, is it 5 years already? 2019 to 2024. Yeah. We're coming up on 5 years in this November, so it'll be a good one. It's a good fall for us down the line here.
Yeah, it's like the second longest relationship I've been in.
Is it fair to say that this podcast lasted longer than my marriage? I mean, anyway, so Lauren O'Brien, I interviewed her back in May, I believe it was. And, everybody will hear in the interview here, but, Jersey native, living in PA now. So, local, when I interviewed her, it was the week that I moved to the new apartment in Mount Holly. And so we talked about this area a lot. And thanks to her, I haven't been too bored. I found some places to go check out music. So she definitely gave me the 411 on the area.
Nice. Yeah, let's dive into that interview with Lauren O'Brien.
All right, everyone. We're here today with singer-songwriter Lauren O'Brien. Welcome to Outside the Circle, Lauren. Thanks for joining us tonight.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I'm excited. We got a lot to talk about in a little bit. We got some big things coming down the line for you. So before we dive into all of that, we always like to start with the typical cliche. Tell us a little bit about where you grew up and how important music was in your household. Things like that.
Sure. Yeah, I was born and raised in New Jersey. So kind of funny to now be in country music because it's not as common up in Jersey. But music and the arts and entertainment was my whole childhood. I grew up doing a lot of musical theater and acting. And it wasn't until about the pandemic when I really transitioned into doing my own music, as opposed to musical theater or plays being casted in things for music.
So normally I ask this question before we start about where you're from and stuff. So we're in New Jersey. We're based out of New Jersey. Where in New Jersey are you from? What area?
Yeah, I'm from South Jersey, outside of Philly.
Okay. I currently, as of 2 days ago, I moved to Mount Holly, East Hampton area. So
okay, super close.
25 minutes to Philly. Yeah.
That's so funny.
And before that, we were more Princeton area. Well, Brian, who's not here, he's more Princeton area, and
that's around where I went to college. I went to the College of New Jersey.
Oh yeah, that's right over there. Yeah. No, that's exciting. We don't get a lot of us in the country world. More so recently.
There's a couple of us, but.
Yeah, it's been growing a little bit here, but it's still a little bit of ways to go.
Yeah, I think Breland's from Jersey. I'm not sure if that is currently.
Breland is I don't know if you know Zach Westcott. He's from the Vineland area.
Oh, okay.
There's a couple North Jersey folks, Southpaw, Lauren Davidson. I don't know if you know any of them, but it's we're slowly getting there. So being around here and getting involved in musical theater and all of that, what was I'm assuming it wasn't country music that you were growing up on.
It really wasn't. It was, I mean, I always listened to like everything growing up as a kid. Like so funny. When I was a kid, like I was super into dance, so it was like the Britney Spears time period.
Yes.
So lots of Britney and pop music. So that was always like fun as a kid. But then in high school, it got really big to go to the country concerts. So I started getting more into country. My brother was super into country. So it was just started becoming like a culture. Being from Jersey, driving down the shore and getting to listen to Zach Brown Band, FGL, and all those amazing country artists. So it kind of started transitioning, and then I think everything changed for me when I like discovered Casey Musgraves.
Yes.
She is one of my favorite artists, and I just love her, and it really brought me into the genre in a much deeper way than just the summer country vibes.
I was going to say she definitely I don't know if I would say more storyteller in her music, but definitely more substance, if that's the right word. Yeah, she's definitely a good one to grab onto there. And yeah, the I'm guessing being outside of Philly, um, well, I know PNC Bank Art Center is the one in Homedale. The one in Philly changed names so many times.
It has changed names
The
multiple times. It was like BB&T, and I think it changed again recently.
Yeah, but I'm assuming that that's probably all
Yeah,
your Zach Browns and yeah,
yeah.
for whatever reason that venue got a lot more country acts than like the Homedale Northern Jersey stuff. So yeah, I'm sure it was great being around here getting all that.
It was, and it was funny because I had a friend who was from Tennessee in high school, and she used to always be like, "You listen to more country than I do." But I think it really was just that like summer fun energy, something for everyone to do, meet up, and get to hear good music.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And you mentioned the shore going down the shore
Mhm.
now that's all you hear. It's the soundtrack of Wildwood has that massive festival now. They just built a massive honky tonk in Wildwood. So yeah, we're getting there. But so you mentioned acting and modeling and kind of getting into those careers too. But when did you know? Well, you mentioned during like the pandemic and stuff, but what was that like moment for you that you knew that like, all right, music was going to be the thing that you were going to focus on?
So things obviously took a big halt during the pandemic. And I like auditions stopped and I was auditioning and acting full time prior to that. And it really just caused me to stop and think about like, what do I actually want? What do I actually like? And during that time, I was like, I want to write. And I know like there was nothing to do at that time during the lockdown. So I started writing and playing guitar and getting back to the piano, which is something that I did in my childhood. So it kind of was a nice time to take a deep breath and like think of what I actually want. Because I think, sometimes we're just nonstop and we don't have that time to reflect. So that was one good thing that came out of that is that I was able to take a deep breath and realize that writing my own music was something that I did want to invest time into.
Good. Yeah, and that's definitely the as many negatives that come along with the pandemic and COVID and all of that, the positive is it forced everybody to kind of slow down and reevaluate things. And um, were you were you here like in the Philly, New York area still doing acting and stuff, or because you're in Nashville now, I believe, right? Am I making that up?
So I'm still in the Philly area, but I
Oh,
was
okay.
I was in the Philly, New York area, and I was like repped up and down the East Coast for acting. But I did go to Nashville for a time period to start getting like into co-writes and stuff like that. So, and I still make trips. I was just there this past week. So
Nice.
try to keep myself involved in the community.
Yes. Well, so you mentioned co-writing, so I definitely want to kind of jump into songwriting too. So, having the pandemic to kind of, find your craft, if you will, what does that songwriting process look like for you? You mentioned the co-writing. Do you prefer
Mhm.
co-writing over solo writes? Like, what does all that look like?
I think at first I didn't really like, it's hard to kind of grasp the concept of writing something with other people. But once you start to do it more often, it becomes like it's so much easier, I think, to write a song with other people because you can bounce ideas off of each other. So it has become something for me that I love to do. And also, that was one of the good things that also came out of the pandemic is Zoom and like co-writing with people who I might not be able to see in person as well. So I do love writing with other people.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say, I'm sure the Zoom side of it really helped, especially start making those connections, let alone not even just the songwriting side of it, but getting to meet and see people and, you know, for all intents, but you put yourself in the same Nashville world as everybody else, because this is all we're doing. So.
Yeah, and even like too, there are people that I have met in person, and then we do our next write on Zoom because you know someone's in London or something. So it's just nice that we can still get together and collaborate, even though people might be all over the place.
Yeah, yeah, that's definitely probably the best part of the not even, we always talk about like social media and how good and bad that could be, but the benefit to technology, social media, all of this is those connections and staying in touch with those people. And yeah, no, that's awesome. So for yourself, in terms of songwriting, are you like a idea first kind of driven? Do you kind of go in blank and just kind of see what happens? What's your like go-to style there?
Honestly, it's definitely titles usually for me, or ideas, and then working the rest of the song later. But it's so funny. I'll tell one of my co-writers that I work with a lot. I'll be like, I got this idea in the shower or right before I was falling asleep. It's like those moments when your brain like slows down that I always feel like I get the best ideas. So my notes app in my phone is just full of so much stuff. Sometimes it's just sifting through the stuff. And it's also just funny when I'm like, yeah, that night I was definitely a little bit delirious. That one wasn't a good idea. But I always feel like I start with the idea first because like kind of what we were talking about with Casey is the storytelling is super important to me. So I try to aim things that way.
Yeah. And you know, sometimes the delirious ideas are not the worst things. Sometimes they turn into something, but
yeah, sometimes I check the time and I'm like, oh yeah, 2 a.m. Definitely couldn't sleep that night.
yeah, no, absolutely. So I feel like this might be a good time to take our break for a second and listen to the song we're going to play for you. That way we could really dive into the music and all of that afterwards. So why don't you go ahead and introduce the song for us, and then we'll talk about it when we come back.
This is my new single, Drinking Over Me.
Didn't matter how much I wanted you to stay home. If your friends were calling you, you would never say no. For a while I let you get away with it, wondering if I'd always be stuck with this. Had to learn the hard way, I'm better on my own. 'Cause you put drinking over me. You poured down the drain on things we were supposed to be. And I couldn't make you love me enough to put the bottle down. Now you're coming home, but I'm not around. You and your whiskey, one man party. Now you're drinking over me. I really wanted to change it, but you had to do it yourself. Now you're all alone and you're learning how I felt. Never planned on me walking out on you. Never thought that this is what you put me through. And all the chances I gave you, did what you always do. 'Cause you put drinking over me.
right, so let's talk about Drinking Over Me. First and foremost, what was the inspiration behind that song and getting it out there in the world for you?
Yeah, so I think like I mentioned, a lot of titles is how I typically start my songwriting, and I also love double entendres. I just think they're so much fun. So this was one that I had thought of, and I brought it to the room that day. And my co-writers, we all kind of related on different scenarios that could relate to this title. And in the song, it's the person's drinking over me with the alcohol and then drinking over me, like because they're sad about the breakup. So there's like two ways that it can be played. So that's kind of how the whole thing started. We all just kind of created a whole storyline with it, and that's how it came about.
Yeah. So I always talk about the story side of it, the lyrics, the emotion side of it. Brian always talks about like the production. He's an audio engineer by trade, so he likes to talk shop. So obviously this song is more from like the female perspective, looking at like at what's going on in this relationship. The first time I heard this song, I immediately felt bad and like wanted to call like people in my past and be like, I'm so sorry. I don't. So it's a great song to really make you think on both sides. You know, you say the double entendres, but you know, male or female, the breakup-y or the breakuper, or the like.
Yeah.
There's so much to be taken from this, and no matter who you are and what situation it is, there's something to relate to, and yeah, it really got me there for a second. I was feeling very guilty for a lot of
Oh
things.
no, wasn't meant to make you feel guilty. But I think what's good about this song is that it's definitely something that it's not really talked about that often. Like a lot of like country drinking songs, it's all about the fun side of drinking, and there's not many songs about the bad sides of it, and how it affects relationships. So that was also where we felt like there was something to tap into there, and kind of tell that story and the side of that side of things. But as far as production, I got to work with an awesome friend, Austin Sean. He's produced a ton of really big things happening in country right now, a lot of Bailey Zimmerman stuff. So it was really amazing to work with him. And I think even listening to it myself, it definitely has that like oomph with it that he brought to it, which I thought was really fun, because it could have been like a little bit slower, not as dramatic, but I think it really adds to the message with how dramatic it gets at certain points.
Yeah, no, it definitely does. This is from start to finish. It is a fantastic song.
Thank you.
Yeah, I definitely. Now I'm thinking about those things, and you know, the drinking songs are always fun, and yeah, we don't really see much of the sad, negative, you know, the things that could happen because of, you know, those fun nights have to end, right? Like,
Yeah.
yeah. No, I love this song. It's so good. It is also off of your upcoming debut EP, In Another Lifetime.
Yes.
What else? I know there's a couple other tracks that have already been released, but you know, what can you tell us about this EP so far? And I believe it's coming soon, end of May, I believe.
It is, yes, May 31st. So the EP, a lot of it, kind of what we're just talking about, it's a lot about relationships, kind of beginning to end, different parts of it. You can see like little glimpses into a relationship, from the sparks of a relationship with Match to things ending with drinking over me. And then kind of like looking forward with in another lifetime, just knowing that it wasn't the right place and right time with a certain person, but you still have a lot of love for them. So I think that that's what this EP really brings, is kind of a little bit of everything for a relationship, from the good parts to the bad parts.
Yeah. So doing this podcast and all of that. Sometimes the benefits pre interviewing is getting a little inside glimpse at things, and in another lifetime, I don't believe is officially released as of yet, the song itself. What I tell you, I'm literally going through that right now. Like, this is one of those examples to me where how important music is, and like how it just shows up in the times that we need it. And yeah, it's I'm very excited for people to hear this EP as a whole, but especially that song. I
Thank you. Yeah, I
literally
think.
blown away by it. Like, yeah.
Oh, thank you. I think that with the song, I feel like it's so many people's real lives. And then you can also just think of like, movies. It's like The Notebook. It's just when
Yes.
sometimes it's not the right time. Sometimes people are in a different place in their lives. They're not in the right place for a relationship. Sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. But I think ultimately the song is just reflecting that, like, in another lifetime, it may have been the right thing, but in this lifetime, it's just not. And you're putting those walls up to protect yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. It's yeah, no, I love it. And I can't wait for people to hear it. And
Thank
we're
you.
not that far away. So
I'm
about
excited.
three weeks or so. So are you planning any type of, like, I don't know, what's the word? I don't want to say publicity, but like anything around the release of it? How are you getting it out in the world, I guess, is what I'm getting
Yeah.
to.
So working on, talking to people like you. Thankfully, I've had some like magazines and stuff talk to me about it. So I've been thankful that I've been able to, get the message out. But I'm excited for it to come out, and then I'll be celebrating with my family and friends to do a little mini release party.
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's kind of jump to the live side for a second. So I know we kind of talked off air for a second there, about performing around town and things like that. But I'm curious what a Lauren O'Brien live show looks like. Like, what can people expect if they come out to see you perform?
I definitely love acoustic based things. I think, like I said, like storytelling is so important to me that I want people to be able to listen to the whole story and really grasp onto it. Kind of like we were saying, I like writing things that are what people are actually going through. So I want people to be able to sit there and really digest the music. So at this time, I really love those type of sets. Definitely nothing, no big production or tracks and stuff like that at this time. But I always have envisioned that Drinking Over Me would be very fun to sing with a big production because it's so dramatic. But that's kind of what a set looks like these days.
Yeah. And I'm sure, well, not only like financially, but it's probably easier to kind of keep that in-house a little bit, and when I don't want to sound like cynical, but like when you're relying on other people, sometimes things, don't go so much the way you want them to. So I'm sure having that acoustic storytelling, smaller type of mentality is probably benefits you a lot, especially not being in Nashville full time. And I'm sure that helps a lot around here. Yeah.
There's not like it's nothing that I even like. There's nothing else I like more as a consumer than watching my favorite artist just stripped down with a guitar, with a piano, and just hearing it completely raw.
Yeah.
I love that. So that's kind of what I like to do. And maybe one day it'll be a much bigger production, but for now it's just me.
Yes. Yeah. So we also talked a little bit about like the acting and modeling, all that stuff. Now fast forward post COVID, focusing on the music, getting that, out there. do you stay up to date and busy in those other creative outlets as well, or are you like just strictly focusing on music these days?
It's one of those things where I feel like now I'm a little bit more selective, so I'll still get the emails for auditions, and if something catches my eye, then I still will do it. But music really is like 99% of things, so sometimes I don't even like feel like it's worth like engaging my time in something else because I'm really just focusing on the music right now. But sometimes I do miss it because it was a big part of my life for a long time. But sometimes good things have to come to an end. So
Yes, yeah, and maybe in another lifetime you were supposed to be, whatever.
exactly.
Yeah, um, yeah. No, I totally get that. Personally, as well, I did a lot of acting and film work, and I lived in California for a few years. I lived in the city, or not lived, but I was going into New York City a lot for film and TV stuff, and um, it's a lot. And focusing on the music alone, or knowing how much that takes out of you and then knowing how much music takes out of you, it's smart to not overwork yourself.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think in being creative, you have to take time to rest. And if you're just going, then it's not a good thing to be able to get things to come out.
Yeah.
Like I was saying, just getting ideas to pop in your head. If you're always like on the next thing, sometimes it doesn't come as easily. So I do think it's good creatively to just not be having your hands in too many things.
Yeah, absolutely. So in another lifetime, May 31st, it's we keep saying it's a couple weeks away here. Other than that release, anything else coming on down the line you want to touch on?
I do have a couple singles. I don't have release dates for them yet, but they will be following the EP, and I'm really excited about them. They were recorded in Brooklyn with my friend Jackson, and they're a little bit more on the pop side of the country pop. Definitely in the past year, I've been super loving Kelsey Ballerini's new music. Definitely took a lot of inspiration there with her rolling up the welcome mat and some other stuff. So really excited to put out that music too.
Nice. Yeah. And, hopefully, since in another lifetime is soon, hopefully those releases are pretty quickly behind those, because I think if this EP means anything, I think people need to keep listening to new music, and you keep getting you out there. So so I guess kind of following in that vein, where can people find you online? Where can they find your music, your socials, all that good stuff?
So I have a very basic first and last name, Lauren O'Brien. So I have to throw my middle name in there because otherwise the usernames are all taken. So my Instagram's laurenalexisobrien.com. .com, saying it like it's my website. That is my website, but Instagram just Lauren Alexis O'Brien.
Nice. Yeah. Well, Lauren, I mean, again, I could only speak ahead of the release that I can't wait for other people to hear this, and it's going to be, yeah, I think it's going to do very, very well for you, and open up a lot of doors and opportunities. And yeah, I'm excited for the world to hear this, and yeah,
Yeah, I mean, I think the oldest song in this is probably 3 years old. So it's been a couple years in the making. So getting all this music out is just really exciting. And I think, like we talked about, like a lot of the messages on here are, things that I went through, my co-writers went through. So we know that they're going to help other people. And that's what music is supposed to do, is be there for you when things are good or when they're bad. So I'm excited to have people experience that.
Yeah, authenticity is probably the most important part of music, and not only just as an artist, but as a listener to relate to the artist and the song. Well, definitely the song, but also the artist. And yeah, so I'm glad that you're putting your reality into things, and it definitely comes off, and people are definitely gonna latch on and follow along for the ride.
Thanks. I think with authenticity, it's like it's all or nothing. I think
Yeah.
that you gotta be completely open, or else it's kind of like the music isn't gonna connect right. So I've definitely tried my best to kind of lay all the cards out on the table, and know that there's people out there that can relate to those.
Yeah, yeah, and you mentioned it, so relating to that, your website, laurenalexisobrien.com. Everybody, please go follow along. We're going to be seeing a lot of you're going to put Philly on the map for country music.
Good. Yeah.
I have this feeling about that. So, but yeah, Lauren, I appreciate you taking the time chatting with me tonight, and
Thanks for having me.
yeah, I can't wait for people to continue hearing what you're putting out.
Thank you.
All right, everyone, that was our interview with Lauren O'Brien. Yeah, man, that was super cool. The album is really what I'm looking forward to, really diving into and hearing the rest of. Me, and I mean you're the same way. We like themes or concepts to albums and not just the whole single. So no, man, I'm excited for it. Nice one.
Yeah, no, same thing as we talked about how in another lifetime the EP itself, that it's kind of a relationship from beginning to end, and we're gonna play in another lifetime at the end here, but yeah, it's kind of cool to see how her storytelling kind of takes us through that journey. And, we talked a lot about double entendres and how we like when things mean different things. And, yeah, she definitely nailed it on not only Drinking Over Me, but the rest of this EP is really cool. And I'm excited for people to hear it.
Yeah, I am a sucker for that play on words and the real true testament of a good songwriter is, really milking out different meanings of the same word.
Yes. Well, we talk about that, you hear the same, drinking songs in particular, they're always fun, but this is more on the sad side, but it sound so sad. You get to like, oh, this is cool. Oh, that's sad. So yes. So we're big fans of double entendres and things not meaning what they're supposed to mean.
Yeah.
No,
man, that's sweet. And yeah, I'm definitely down for and excited to listen to the rest of this EP. We want to thank Lauren O'Brien for coming on Outside the Circle. Be sure to follow her on all of her social media music listening platforms. We leave you today with another track from Lauren O'Brien, In Another Lifetime.
Dreams I didn't have before this whole thing started.